Hey everybody, Charles here for HumbleMechanic.com. This is episode 23 of the Humble Mechanic podcast, and today we're going to be talking about 10 habits of successful technicians. Before we get rolling in those 10 habits, I just want to recap last week really quick and talk to you guys a little bit about the schedule change coming up. Last week was a huge week for the show, huge week for the website. It's incredible. I'm sure everyone on the internet has seen the VR6 video I did with Jason from Engineering Explained. If you haven't, I'll put a link in the show notes. Awesome video. It came out really well. I couldn't be prouder of being able to work with him, and he did such a good job putting the video together and doing his whiteboard thing. So that's really awesome. Welcome to everybody that's new. A ton of new subscribers. The community really grew a lot this week, so I'm very happy about that. That's not to say that I'm not forgetting all of you guys that have been with me for a long, long time. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me, so thank you for that. Like I say in all the videos, if you have any questions or comments, feel free always to post them below in the comments section, whether you're on the blog or on YouTube. The scheduling change is not really a big deal. I'm sort of renumbering some of the shows. We're going to move the official podcast from 5 days to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tuesday shows are going to be the shows that you guys have really, really given me great feedback on, and that's the ones where we talk about failed parts. Got some really good ones coming up in the next few weeks with that. And then Thursday is going to be tool review day. So, look for that coming out. The Tuesday, Thursday shows won't be numbered like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Honestly, it's not that big of a deal. I just thought I'd let you guys know and keep you in the loop. So let's get right into the show. We're going to talk about 10 habits of successful technicians. Now, these are my 10 habits. So if I don't say something and you think it's really important, make sure you post that in the comments below. The goal here is to make sure we're all getting better at our jobs. So number one, the most important thing, it's the easiest one. It's the one that people seem to miss all the time, and that's punctuality. You got to be here on time. Again, it's the easiest thing you could possibly do at any job, no matter what it is. Show up on time. It's that simple. You have people depending on you being there at a certain time. Don't let them down. It sort of creates this weird ripple effect of you're late, now someone else is behind, now two people have to work harder to make up for you being late, and it's just this cycle that goes on and on. So get there on time, be ready to work when you're supposed to. And I have a rule on my team that if you're late, you got to bring breakfast for everybody. So I know there's a couple of you guys watching this have had to bring breakfast on multiple occasions. So that gets old after a few times. It's easy. Get there when you're supposed to. Next is, number two, have the tools that you need to do your job. The right tool for the right job usually works out to be a better quality job, whether it's a repair or maintenance. It makes the job easier. It makes the job faster. People ask about how much we spend on tools, and a lot of that is to do jobs faster, which in the long run pays off financially. But faster, easier, you're less likely to break things. Soft trim tools to remove trim pieces rather than screwdrivers is really important to have the right stuff. And it can also help bail you out of a jam if something does break. If a bolt head breaks off, having the right extraction tools to do the repair is very, very important. So have the right tools. Number two, important. Know your product. Number three, know your product. This applies to every technician out there, whether you're in the aftermarket or you work at the dealership. You got to know what you're working with. You got to know, not only the car line, the aftermarket guys, man, super props to you for having to know so much about so many car lines. I think one of the benefits for me at the dealership is I got to know one car line. I have to know it really well, but I only have to worry about one. So the more you know about your car line, the faster you can fix stuff, the less you'll have to hem-haw around and wonder how a system works. So the more you know, the better. It's not impossible to fix something if you don't know about it, but it does make it a lot more difficult. Number four is never forget the basics. Man, I have seen guys, including myself, get their butts kicked by really, really dumb problems, blown fuses. You're working with a tire pressure monitoring system and you go through the whole, system and check all the sensors and hook the scan tool up, and you never checked the tire pressure. It happens. So, never forget, as you get to be a really, really successful technician and a very good diagnostic technician, you can't skip those basics, because when you start skipping basics is usually when you get burned. tons of times I've been able to fix cars by replacing a blown fuse. And, you look at the problem on an RO and you can paint the picture of how the diagnostic story can go. And had you not checked that one fuse, you would be 4 hours into a diagnostic and all for a blown fuse. So never, ever, ever forget the basics. Number 5 is listen. This is one of my challenges, I know, and it's something I'm working hard on changing, but really listen to not only what a customer says to you, their words, but you really need to listen more of what they mean. It's like my wife always tells me, listen to what I say, listen to what I mean, not what I say. And make sure you're understanding what they're telling you, not just the words. For example, a customer might come in and say, I have a squeak in the dash when I drive. And you drive the car and you hear a rattle. Well, they might be talking about that same noise as you. They're hearing a noise. You interpret it as a rattle. They interpret it as a squeak. You might be talking about the same thing. You might not. So asking them questions is also really important. And it really does go along with that whole listening package. The squeak and rattle example, we all use different lingo. So I hear squeak, you hear a rattle, Bob hears a chirp, Billy hears a creak. We all can be talking about the same noise, but it's not good enough to assume that we're talking about the same thing. We got to know. So we got to listen to what our customer says. And if we're not sure, ask. I'd rather ask them 4 or 5 times what something is than chase a noise down and get it wrong. Number 6 is work smart. This is kind of like being on time. It's sort of that duh factor. Like, you need to work smart, right? And what do I mean by work smart, though? I mean, we want to win the game of flat rate, right? That's the whole point of the game. Make money. I love my customers and I'm there for them, but if I didn't get a paycheck, I wouldn't come in every day. So the point is to make money. And we make money by working smart. We make money by working hard. I did a whole show all about flat rate. I'll put a link to that in the show notes for you if you want to go back and check that out. I'm not going to rehash flat rate, but working smart is taking good notes during a diagnostic so that you don't recheck the same pin of the same wire 14 times because you forgot it. Have an action plan. When I do a service, I already know the steps that I'm going to take to do the service. I know what order I'm going to do everything. And I'm consistent with it. I try and have the same plan throughout. Every time I do an oil change, tire rotation, I do the oil change first, I do the tire rotation, top off all the fluids, in that order every time. Plus it helps me to not forget things too. At any point during a repair or a job, try and stack things on top of each other. So if I'm flushing the brakes and I have to rotate and balance the tires, I'll take the tires off, I'll start the brake flush, I'll rotate and balance the tires, and really try and stack as many things on each other as I can. This could probably be its own show on all how to stack all these jobs and work smart. But check out the flat rate show. There's a lot of good information in that one. Number 7, always keep learning. I know there's a lot of us technicians out there that are pretty stubborn and hard-headed. Notice I said us technicians because I'm one of them. And by keep learning, I mean sort of staying with technology. If you're able to, staying ahead of it is where to be at. Keeping up is really hard. Being a bit ahead of it, and you don't have to be an expert ahead of it, but being a bit ahead of it is definitely important. Understanding where customers are going, what they're doing, and what they expect is going to, hopefully, some manufacturers are a little bit behind, but hopefully you'll see where the industry's headed. For me now, like, the big thing is e-mobility stuff, cell phone connectivity, and that kind of thing. So I know manufacturers are focusing on that, and I'm trying to be aware of it and stay as ahead of it as I can. I would say for me, the hardest part of that keep learning thing is keeping up with all the technical service bulletins and recalls and updates and tech tips and service actions. I mean, it's information nonstop, just at you. And, we get a report every week with just a little blip about the things coming out. And for some reason, it doesn't even have all of them in there. But, staying on top of that stuff flat out is my biggest struggle when it comes to the nuts and bolts mechanics of doing the job. There's other parts of the job that are really hard too, but as far as in the shop fixing cars and me, that's the hardest one for me. So always stay ahead, always keep learning, keep watching the show. That'll help you. I like to think anyway. Know when to ask for help. Number 8, know when to ask for help. This is one where a lot of, again, us stubborn technicians get hung up because we don't want to admit that we don't know everything. But you guys know we don't know everything. I don't know everything as much as I like to think I do. I really don't think that I do. But, you sort of get caught in this diagnostic circle when you run into a problem and you don't know, you've done sort of the basics, you've done the advanced level stuff, and now you're kind of doing that number, and, you don't really know what to do next. Now it's time to ask for help. Swallow your pride or whatever it is you got to do. Get out of that circle of, looking at the car, scratching your head. Hopefully you've taken good notes so you can refer back. Again, we don't know everything, so utilize the knowledge of your coworkers. If you have some sort of technical assistance helpline to call, give them a call the customer and ask them for more information. There's a ton of things that you can do, but never, ever, ever be afraid to ask for help. And it could be that the guy next to you seen the problem last week and could go, hey man, check this. This is what I found. And I actually do see that a lot, so that's beneficial. Now, the caveat of that is do your work first. Don't just jump around the shop and ask for help and try and get other people to do your diagnostics for you, because that creates tension in the shop really quick. And I've actually had previous guys do that, and it doesn't work out really well for them. You pretty much lose respect for that guy that just walks around the shop asking for help when you know he didn't do his diagnostic portion. So again, don't be afraid to ask for help. Number 9, don't be scared of a job. Cars are intimidating, even for us professionals. You take someone that doesn't know anything about cars and they raise the hood, they look, I don't know nothing, shut the hood. Well, there's a lot of jobs that can be intimidating for professionals as well. I remember, it's so funny looking back and thinking about it now. I remember when I first started, I was so scared to do a timing belt on a 1.8 turbo Passat because the bumper had to come off. The whole front of the car changes, and it's intimidating when you haven't done it a million times. Now I think, man, you idiot, that's the easiest job in the shop. But it's scary, and you being scared doesn't get the car fixed. You dilly-dallying around because you don't want to just dive right in doesn't get the car fixed. If you're scared to do a job, look it up in the repair manual. Like we go back to number 8. We don't know everything. Look it up in the repair manual. For me, I'm more of just a dive right in and see what I can find kind of guy. It works out really well almost all the time. I've definitely been burned on it a few times, so I'm going back a little bit now and starting to at least skim the owner or the repair manual and get an idea of what I'm doing before I just jump right in. But sometimes that's not an option. So sometimes just diving right in is definitely the way to go. And number 10, work with your customers. This is kind of really parallel with number 5, which is weird that it's 5 and 10. They're actually the 2 at the bottom of my list. But, we lose sight of the fact that we're there for the customer, and, the cars are hard and your body hurts and you got beat up all day. Now you got a customer that wants to test drive a car with you, and, there's times where you're just like, it's the last thing I want to do, but we have to do it. That's our job. And you'll find that you usually win more customers that way. And if you're nice to them, and even if it's not your customer, and let's say you're walking through the service drive, a smile and a hello does worlds of good for not only your reputation but the dealer's reputation. It puts the customer at ease and makes them feel better about coming to your shop. So again, our goal as a tech is to get that customer to me or to you personally. But you may not have that opportunity today, but next time they may remember, hey, that guy was really nice. I wouldn't mind him working on my car or her working on my car. So really work with your customer. Make sure that, if you ever have an opportunity and you have a free couple of minutes, just walk up front and have a conversation with whoever's up there. You'll be surprised at how many people really lighten up and enjoy that. And, it puts you at the face of the dealership, which surprisingly a lot of dealerships are really scared of. I understand part of that because a lot of us are jerks, but we're all on the same team. The whole goal, the whole big picture goal, as you guys know, is to get the car fixed. So make sure you're working with your customers. But that's it, guys. That's 10. That is the 10 best things I think every tech could do to either be successful, be more successful. And this all work at any level, whether it's your first day, whether you've been doing it for a year and you're like kind of got your footing now, or whether you've been doing it for 10 years and feel like you got a good grasp on things. Revisiting some of this stuff can really put things in perspective and help you just kind of up your game just a little bit. And at every level, if we can up our game just a little bit, we're getting better, we're learning, we're working smart, we're not scared of jobs, we're always getting tools, so we always have the right tools. So taking these 10 things and implementing them into your daily, weekly work life can really be beneficial. If you have a tip you'd like to share, maybe something that I missed, post it in the comment section below, whether it's on YouTube or on the blog, somewhere where everybody can see it, and maybe that's something we can all, tune our game up a little bit with. Anyway, guys, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up there. Again, thank you guys, all of you that have been around with me since the beginning and early on and throughout the stages of the blog and the show. Again, welcome to everybody new. I really appreciate you guys. Any questions, you can always post them in the comments section below. Feel free to email me, charles@humblemechanic.com. That's really the place that I check messages the most, so that'll be the most likely place to get at me. Don't forget, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube if you're watching there, Instagram. Those are sort of the places I hang out the most. Anyway, this has been Charles from humblemechanic.com. Thanks, and I will see you guys next time.